Hey everybody, welcome to the next measurement video. And these are for your notes, so make sure you have your notes and make sure you're filling in the blanks and make sure you're listening to everything I'm saying and you're not just, copying off someone else to fill in the blanks because there's not a lot for each section, or don't fast forward through the video just getting all the fill in the blank words and then saying, oh, I'm done. Your goal is to learn from what I say. A lot of times in science, it's not necessarily what you have to write down, but it's what the teacher's saying in all your subjects. So you got to learn from what they say, and listening is a very, very important skill. So make sure you're not cheating yourself on this by just fast forwarding through the video and taking, just writing down the words that fill in the blank and then think, oh, I'm done. Typically, students that do that don't do as well on the tests and on activities because they don't have all the background information. Now, when it comes to finding volume, there's really two methods that we're going to use in here. One is the water displacement method, and we're actually going to talk about that second today. The other one is calculating volume mathematically, and that is when you measure the length, the width, and the height, you multiply the three together to find the volume of an object. So when we talk about finding the volume of a solid, if you're trying to find the volume of a solid, you may not be able to put it in a graduated cylinder. It may not fit. Now, a graduated cylinder, I'll show you what that looks like in a little bit, but that would be the easiest thing to do to find the volume. But sometimes they just don't fit. So if it's a large block or if it's a cube, you might have to do it the old-fashioned way. You might have to measure it with a ruler. And to do that, you just find the length of it, the width and the height. You multiply the three together, and that will be its volume. Now, how is volume different than surface area? The surface area, if I looked at this down here, it would be 6 right here. It'd be 4 here, then 4 on the other side. There would be 6 on the back side, 6 on top, 6 on the bottom. You would have to basically find the area of each face of the block and then add those together. Volume is different. It's the length times the width times the height. So let's look at the next slide. So that's a solid. What if you have an irregular shaped object or if you have liquids? Well, to find the volume of a liquid, the SI base unit is going to be the liter. So 1 liter equals 1 L. Sometimes you'll see it capitalized as a capital L. Now, volume is the amount of space an object takes up. So you're going to use different units and tools to measure volume of a liquid or a solid. And you can use a graduated cylinder, and I'll show you what this looks like in a little bit, to measure the volume of a liquid. Or you can use the displacement method. If the solid is small enough to fit in a graduated cylinder, and you can get some really large graduated cylinders, sometimes it's easier just to take that object, especially if it's an irregular shaped object like keys. It's easier sometimes just to plop them in a graduated cylinder, see how much the water goes up to find the volume. So first of all, graduated cylinders, and here we see one. Graduated cylinders are designed to measure in milliliters or milliliters if I spelt it all the way out. But again, use abbreviations whenever you want. In order to read a graduated cylinder, you have to get eye level and you have to look right across it. So if this graduated cylinder is sitting on your lab table, you've got to bend over and you got to look at it so that your eye is level with the water level in the graduated cylinder. You can't read it from standing full up, or you can't like sit in a chair and be looking up at it. You have to be eye level with it. And we're going to talk about the meniscus. You always read from the bottom of the meniscus. And the meniscus is the curved liquid surface in a graduated cylinder. So if I look at this graduated cylinder, you notice how it looks funky? And that's because the top of the water is right here, and you can see the cursor at the top is there, but notice how it dips down. So we always read from the bottom of the meniscus. And if everybody does it the same way, we're always going to get the measurement. And the reason we do that is because we don't want to say there's all this liquid when basically it curves down and most of this space here is going to be air. So we always measure from the bottom of the meniscus. Now, what is the water displacement method? This is where if you have a solid. And the way we do that is we fill it up to a certain level. We put the solid in and we put it in so much water doesn't plop out. But then the water, you know how the water level rises? All we have to do is take the 7, subtract 9, and know, oh, 9 minus 7 is 2. That means that object we put in was 2. Now the label's a little bit tricky with this. So we put water in the graduated cylinder, we record the measurement, we tilt the graduated cylinder, we put the object in it, and we record the difference. Now, for a liquid, we record in milliliters or liters. But if it's a solid, it's going to have to be cubic centimeters. Now, the neat thing about this, if this went up from, so it was at a 7, it went up to 9, that's 2. Well, technically in here, the water went up 2 milliliters, but because we're measuring a solid, it's got to be in cubic centimeters. The nice thing about the metric system is 1 milliliter equals 1 cubic centimeter. So if the water went up 2 milliliters, that means it's 2 cubic centimeters. So all solids have to be labeled. And cubic centimeters or cubic meters, they can't be liters. Liters is only for liquids. So what's the essential knowledge? One, you're going to have to know the basic facts about volume. You're going to have to be able to find the volume of both solids and liquids and know what tools to use in order to measure volume. Know how to use a ruler. Know how to use a graduated cylinder. So as always, if you have any questions, please ask. Thanks. Bye.